I don't know who needs to hear this right now, but if you're a dad and you suffer from anxiety, you're not alone. I felt like I wanted to make this video this week because I'm on a journey with fatherhood myself. I've got, as I record this, a near 18-month-old, and boy, has it been difficult these last 18 months. It's quite amazing, isn't it? It's an amazing experience becoming a dad. It's full of joy and it surprises you in so many ways. They surprise you in so many ways. You do really grow so much as a person. But when you have anxiety, it can also really bring out the worst in you. With anxiety, it can be really overwhelming sometimes, this world, life. You can get completely overstimulated on a daily basis, especially with a kid, a baby. The crying, it really can get under your skin if you're not careful. So I guess I wanted to just make this video to talk about a few things about fatherhood, about especially being a new dad, for anyone who might be struggling right now. Just as a reminder, really, for you to reflect on and see that you might feel like you're alone, but you're not. And something that spurred me on to do this really has been through searching myself on YouTube and searching for people who are new dads, who might be struggling with anxiety, and all I seem to keep finding really is doctors and therapists and how-tos, and no one actually talking about how it feels and actually talking as a peer. So I guess that's what I want to do for you, Mr. Dad, if you're watching. I guess I just want to create a space for you and for me to be able to talk about this and to be able to share notes, compare notes, but just to feel seen, really. I think feeling seen makes such a huge difference, doesn't it? When you finally connect with people and you're able to feel seen. There are a few things I've found that are helping me. So I guess whilst this isn't a how-to, I've got a few pieces from my experience that might be helpful to other dads, which I can talk about. Particularly, one really powerful thing I found when my daughter was born, and I found the crying extremely overstimulating, setting me off in all sorts of ways, was to get a pair of earphones, noise cancelling earphones or earbuds. And by the way, this is not a sponsored video. I mean, this is a very new channel, so don't worry, I'm not trying to sell you anything here. But that helped me a lot. Taking action, doing something to help me regulate. That's the point that I'm trying to get across. By using some earphones just to dampen the noise, I found that helped me a lot. And I found that it allowed me to find my calm. And when I found my calm, I found my courage. And it's just, that's what this experience has been about for me in many ways. It has been about coming up against things that set my anxiety going and adapting and figuring out every day techniques and little things I can do to get through. I think what's become particularly resonant to the top of my mind recently with this whole experience has been needing to focus on regulating myself. When you regulate yourself, when you can stay regulated, you can control your symptoms, you can handle it all from a much stronger place. And particularly with children, young children, they obviously respond to the world through very, very primal senses in many ways. If you're calm, they're calm. If you're anxious, they're gonna be dysregulated themselves. And don't get me wrong, it's really hard to do that every day. I am by no means perfect. I am having a lot of days lately where I am struggling and I am making mistakes. And I'm beating myself up for it, like I'm sure so many of us are, so many of you might be. But you know what? That's got to stop. I think as men in particular, we have it drilled into us, especially if you're, I don't know, my generation, a millennial, for example. But you have it drilled into you from an early age that you've got to be a certain type of guy, strong, to man up, to keep it all in and to keep it together all the time. But to be honest, these days, it's just getting harder and harder to do that. And I think obviously the idea of a man is also changing, isn't it? And of course, there's all sorts of gobby people out there who have their own views on what a man should be. And as I'm sure everybody knows, that is affecting young people in particular right now. But I guess from my perspective, as a 30-something-year-old man, to me, what it means to be a man, to be a father, to be I'm not even going to say leader of a household because it's a team, yourself and your partner. But to be a man and a father these days, I think is to be in touch with your emotional self, is to be open when you're struggling. But it is also to be able to recognise when you do need some help and to reach out for it and to not keep that in. Because I've seen so many people make that mistake. I made that mistake quite a few years ago, but then I have been managing anxiety for nearly a decade now. And over that journey, I did reach a point quite a few years ago where I was able to become more open about it. So in many ways, I have that, I guess, as an advantage for me right now. But if you are suffering from anxiety and you're a new dad or a dad of older children, and you're wondering about whether to speak to someone about it, maybe you feel awkward, maybe you feel embarrassed, please don't be. Please do talk to someone. It doesn't matter who it is. It can be a friend down the pub. You know, it can be anyone. A neutral party, anybody. Somebody on a high street. But just talking to people about it, it makes a huge difference. It really does. I mean, drop a comment here. Please do. I'll happily respond to it. I'd love you to do that. Just to let you know that you're not on your own. Yeah. That's the key message of this, really. Of course, whether or not anybody watches this is another story. But I can't not make this video. It's too important of a message to get out there. And it's about time that people like me start speaking truth to it. Truth to the experience of what it's like to be a dad these days. It is hard. It is messy. And with the global mental health crisis that we do have, I am certain that there are thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of dads out there who are feeling similar but are afraid to talk about it. So the floor is open. let's talk about it. Anxious Dads Club. Maybe I should start that. But please look after yourself. And please do talk to people if you need it. And I'll leave you with one final thing. Do something for yourself this weekend that brings you joy. I've also found that to be a really powerful thing, actually. And sometimes, of course, when you're feeling anxious, maybe when you're feeling down, you almost feel like you can't do things for yourself, right? Or the things that bring you joy, they start to become a burden or an inconvenience. For me, it's playing video games. I've noticed every now and then I've tried to play games and I've just kind of scrolled instead. But when I have intentionally pushed myself to do those things that bring me joy, to pick up the game, to play it, I feel better. And most of the time the next day, overall, I'm a little bit more regulated because I've done something that's renewed me. So whether that's playing video games or going for a walk, not to be that person that just tells you to go for a walk, but if you enjoy doing that, do that. Touch some grass. Play with your kid. Play with your kid and listen to them laugh. That brings me joy. That brings me a lot of joy. And that, if anything, makes it all worth it. But do these things. Intentionally do these things. Push yourself to bring the joy back in. Even if you feel like you're not up to it, still try and do something in a day. There's a really great TV series that a lot of people would have heard of called Twin Peaks, and there is an episode in there and a line that the main character says that I was always stuck with me since I've seen it. And he goes into a diner, he sits down, and he orders some coffee, and he's sat next to a policeman. I think he's an FBI agent. And he turns to the policeman and he says, every day, give yourself 2 presents. Don't overthink it. Doesn't matter what it is, but do something for yourself. That's probably not exactly what he said, but it's along those lines. For him, it's a couple of cups of hot black coffee. And I love that. And I'm going to try and do that a bit more, I think, myself. But there you go. There's my call to action. I'm going to start giving myself 2 presents every day. Even if that's just first sip of a cup of tea in the morning, because I am British, after all. Yeah, try and do that for yourself too. I'll leave it there. I've been talking for way too long. I'm rambling on. But dads, you're not alone. Speak about your anxiety. It'll help. And there's nothing to be embarrassed about. Thank you. Subscribe to the channel. I'll see you next time.